Hey there, I'm Anna Washenko, staff writer with Games Radar. I'm here to sort out the fact from the fiction around the legendary Grand Theft Auto. When people talk about the most groundbreaking, innovative game series ever, GTA will likely be near the top of the heap. And for good reason. Over the past decade, this franchise has probably done more than any other to change the shape of gaming as we now know it. However, that doesn't mean it's responsible for pioneering everything awesome about video games ever. Grand Theft Auto's reputation has gotten so big that people may be a tad blinded by the brilliance. They just assume that if the Rockstar team did something noteworthy, they must have been the first ones. But let's face it, nobody, not even Rockstar, is that good. So to sort the myth and magic from the reality, here are some areas where GTA was indeed the originator, and some cases where it was just a copycat. Once upon a time, Hollywood talent getting involved with a game wasn't cause for excitement. It was more of an awkward, cringe-inducing relationship where neither side knew quite how to deal with the other. Come on, when a game manages to make Bruce Willis sound bored to tears, something is really not working. And of course it didn't work, because most of those projects only used the biggest name they could get in a pitch for the most sales that they could get. That's not so good for quality. Rockstar set the standard for casting a game just like a smart director would cast a film. This shift happened most clearly with GTA 3, when Rockstar made hires based on character and ability rather than name appeal, picking actors who really would embody their roles. I mean, Frank Vincent and Joe Pantoliano? Yeah, I think they know their way around playing mobsters. GTA's savvy choices proved that games could benefit from great acting and could be a real showcase of voice talent. It made game gigs a legitimate port of call, even for the Hollywood elite. In the pre-GTA times, a genre designation told it like it was. Shooters were shooters, racers were racers, and ne'er the twain should meet. But Rockstar said, damn your limited definitions! GTA 3 pulled in many other gameplay styles, blending them all seamlessly within a broad action game structure. And I do mean broad. It had a number of side missions, secrets, and Easter eggs normally reserved for the Final Fantasies and Elder Scrollses of the world. That combination of RPG exploration and character in an action game that's also a shooter and a driver was something truly original. Most action games used the setting as background scenery, and little more. Sure, they could set the stage and give a unique look, but the choice was purely decorative. Grand Theft Auto stopped treating the location as mere garnish and gave it a meatier role. Liberty City was a mechanic in its own right. The form and function of the world informed and defined in-game action on a moment-to-moment basis. The setting made everything in GTA feel more real, from the scripted scenes to the dynamically generated surprise encounters. Because that's how life goes in a metropolis. That realism made it a game you could live in, one where you'd swear the world kept going even after you'd switched off the machine. Tracking performance and percentages in a game are nothing new. Many players have experienced the thrill of hunting 100% completions or gathering collectibles. But Grand Theft Auto took that idea of extra bits to the next level. The next ridiculous, utterly unnecessary, scary, obsessive level. Seriously, the stats screens for these games are things of mad wonder. Testaments to needless completionism of tasks that you don't realize until you're playing are in fact absolutely required. They log everything from in-game days passed to hospital visits, from kilos of explosives blown to distance traveled on foot. At first glance, you scoff at them. You ask, what poor fool would bother to seek out every last hidden package? And then a few hundred hours later, when your eyes are bloodshot and you're muttering to yourself looking for package number 99, you'll have your answer. And that, my friends, is a true GTA experience. Licensed music had appeared in plenty of games before Grand Theft Auto, but GTA was the first series to really use it. In lesser hands, the game's radio stations would have been collections of tunes that played whenever you entered a vehicle. Simple enough concept. But the brilliance of GTA is the painstaking curation of songs that aren't just good as individual tracks. The song choices cement the vibe each game was going for, evoking a powerful sense of place and feeling. Plus, as befits a series that values emergent experiences, the radio stations can also make for unexpected moments. You might have the perfect atmospheric soundscape to a long ambient drive. Or you might have a hilariously incongruous country music soundtrack to an intense car chase. Willie Nelson, anybody? When it comes to using music for impact, intentionally or not, GTA blazed the trail. Those are some areas where Grand Theft Auto truly was the pioneering innovator. Now let's debunk a few assumptions about the series. GTA was in no way the first open-world game. The Elder Scrolls have open-world cred dating back to 1994's Arena. And if you think about it, the Legend of Zelda series is pretty much open-world too, and that first dropped back in 1986. Grand Theft Auto often gets lumped in as an open-world originator, but it was far from the pioneer of this free-roaming game style. Sorry to burst your bubbles yet again, but GTA wasn't even the first game to make an open-world city. The earliest example of that we've found is a game called Turbo Esprit. It might look like the average fake 3D fair of that day in visuals, yet it provided not just one, but 4 truly open British cities as your driving playground. You had to explore and chart your own paths through the winding streets in this cops versus dealers game. Playing it back then was a fresh experience. The instances of slowing down your car, backing up to an overshot turn, and ducking down a side street were revelatory. And given what you'd expect to see out of driving games of the era, they're still pretty impressive. Sure, GTA made its name by putting players into the boots of the bad guy. But yet again, it was far from the first. One of the most interesting early crime sims was from back in 1982. Gangbusters was a text-based strategy game for the Commodore 64. It's a lot slower moving than any Grand Theft Auto game, but you are moving through very similar territory. You start at the bottom of the criminal food chain, with enough buying illegal weapons, carrying out hits, running prostitution rings, and yes, stealing cars. You can work your way up to boss status. It also shared GTA's penchant for extracurriculars, such as horse racing to bet on, and it was a multiplayer environment, where you could have multiple Dons vying for dominance. That's something GTA was only getting to in the 5th game. Finally, although Grand Theft Auto is often lauded as the first one to combine driving and on-foot shooting, it was not. Several games had already treaded that territory. First, there's Body Harvest, dated 1998 for the N64. You could hop in and out of combat while hopping in and out of several different types of vehicle. And even before Body Harvest, there was Hunter. The 1991 game had many of the same features as GTA. An open world, a huge map, a day-night cycle, and a large number of vehicles to drive around in. Sure, it might have only been made out of 9 polygons, but the idea was there, and that's what counts. So the next time someone tries to tell you that Grand Theft Auto debuted all those ideas, you have the real story. For more truth bombs and great gaming videos, you can follow Games Radar at youtube.com/gamesradar.